ಹಲೋ ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್.
ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಪರಿಚಯ ಯಾರು ಅವರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಈಗ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತೇ ಆಗಲ್ವಾ?
ಇನ್ನವ್ರು ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ, ನೀವು ಯೂಸರ್ಸ್ ತೋರಿಸಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಇನ್ನು 1 minute ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ.
ಹಲೋ ಹಲೋ ಸರ್.
ಹಲೋ.
ಸರ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್, ಈಗ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಈಗ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮಿನಿಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಯಾರಾದ್ರು ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಬಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ.
ಓಕೆ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಚಾಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರೊವಿಷನ್ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ?
ಇದೆ. ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್. ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಅವ್ರು ಚಾಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್, ನಿಮಗೆ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ದಟ್ ಇದು ಚಾಟ್. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾ ಚಾಟ್? ಅಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ, ಇವರಿಗೆ ಪೋಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕಾಣುತ್ತಾನೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಓದಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲ. ಸರ್ ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಯ್ ಅಂತ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆನಾ ಚಾಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ?
ಇಲ್ಲ, ನನಗಂತೂ ಏನು ಬರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ತಡ್ರಿ, ಬಂದಿದೆ.
ಕಾಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ.
DVG 3 ಗಂಟೆ ಕಳಿಸಿದಿರಲ್ವಾ? ಒಂದೇ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ತಡ್ರಿ. ಈ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಏನು ಬರಲ್ವಾ ಇದು ಚಾಟ್ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ? ಓಕೆ, ನಿಮ್ದು ಬಂದಿದೆ, ಚಾಟ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿದೆ
ಸರ್. ನೀವು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆಗೆ
ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಯಾರೋ ಬಂತು, ಐಶ್ವರ್ಯ. ಓಕೆ,
ಗುಡ್ ನೂನ್ ಸರ್. ಈಗ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ನೀವು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಅದನ್ನ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸೆಂಡ್ ದ ಚಾಟ್. ನೀವು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ ಸರ್, ಲೆಫ್ಟ್.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸಿಕ್ತು ನನಗೆ, ಕಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ ನಾನೀಗ. ಬಟ್ ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ನಾನು ರಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇದರಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ವಿಜುವಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಇವ್ರದ್ದು ಚಾಟ್ ಕ್ವೆರಿ ಏನು ತೋರ್ಸಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ವಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ನಾನೇ ಓದಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಇದ್ರೆ.
ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ
ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ,
ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಈಗ ಕೆಲವರು ಪ್ರಿಯಾಂಕಾ, ಸಹನಾ, ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರಲ್ವಾ?
ನಿಜ. ಅವರು ಯಾರೋ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಬಂದ್ರು.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್, ನಾನು ಈಗ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಸರ್. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮಿನಿಟ್.
ಶೋರ್, ನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್.
ಗುಡ್ ಈವ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಬಂತು? ಮಿಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಹೈಡ್ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಅವ್ರು ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ರು. ನಾನು ಗುಡ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ನೂನ್ ಟು ಆಲ್ ಅನ್ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು, ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಯೋಚನೆ ಒಳಗೆ ಓಡಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಸಮ್ 12 ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಜಾಯ್ನಿಂಗ್. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಜಸ್ಟ್ 1 or 2 minutes. Just wait and log into that one.
Sure.
ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಒಂದು ಸೆಷನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಸರ್. ಅವರು ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಇದು ಇ-ಕಾಮರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು, ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅದೇ.
ನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್.
ಈಗ ಲೈವ್ ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ನನ್ನ ವಾಯ್ಸ್. ಹಲೋ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಇನ್ನು ಓನ್ಲಿ 12 ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ವೇರ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಅದರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್? ಬರ್ರಪ್ಪ ಬೇಗ. ABC 3 ಬರ್ತತಾನೆ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್.
ನೀವು ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಅದನ್ನ ಲಾಗಿನ್ ಆಗಿ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ವಾಯ್ಸ್.
ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, 18 ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ನಾವು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಹೆಂಗೆ? ಓಕೆ ಸರ್, ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡೋಣಲ್ವಾ? ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಲೆಟ್ ದೆಮ್ ಟು ಜಾಯಿನ್.
ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 5 minutes ನೋಡೋಣ, ನಡೀತೆ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ.
ನಡೆಯುತ್ತಾ? ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಜಸ್ಟ್.
ತುಂಬಾ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ನಡೀತೆ.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.
ಆ, 3:10 ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ, 3:10.
ಓಕೆ, in another 3-4 minutes. Yes, sir. 29-30 students are there. Okay, no problem. They are increasing. ಅದೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆಫ್ಟರ್ನೂನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ರೂರಲ್ ಅಥವಾ ರಿಮೋಟ್ ಏರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಸಮ್ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
ಟೋಟಲ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಇನ್ವೈಟ್ಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ರಿ? ಎಷ್ಟು ಟೋಟಲ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಎಷ್ಟು ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ?
ಟೋಟಲ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ 3 ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಒಂದೊಂದು ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ 80 to 90 ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ 270 ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಕಳಿಸಿದೀವಿ. ಬಟ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಈಗ 50% ದೇ ಆರ್ ಅಟೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲವರಿಗೆ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇದಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಡಿಲೇ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ.
Students, they want to listen.
ಲೈವ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡಲಾ?
ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ
ಸರ್. 3:08 ಆಯ್ತು. ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ವಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ದೆನ್?
ಶೂರ್, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 2 minutes ನೋಡೋಣ. 3:10 ಇನ್ನು ಯಾರೋ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ, 1-2-3 ಆದ್ರು ಈಗ. ಶಾರ್ಪ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡಿ.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್,
ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬೇಡ.
ಓಕೆ. 3:10, 3 ಗಂಟೆ 10 ನಿಮಿಷ. Just 2 minutes.
Hello, sir.
ನೋಡಿ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್
ಇಲ್ಲ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ತೆಗೆದು ನೋಡಿ. ಹಲೋ ಸರ್, ಗುಡ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ನೂನ್ ಸರ್.
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon sir. Naveen sir, I am Naveen sir.
Hello,
Virendra sir, colleagues sir.
Namaste,
Sir,
sir.
sir, namaste sir. Sir, ನಾನು ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಸರ್. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So, good afternoon to all. So, it's my immense pleasure to welcome today's gathering. First, I would like to welcome today's resource person, Pawan Gayakwad. So today's resource person, Pawan Gayakwad, Bangalore. On behalf of our college, I welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Now I would like to welcome our beloved principal, Dr. B. Veerappa sir, who supported us to conduct today's webinar. I would like to extend my hearty welcome to our teaching and non-teaching staff. Last but not the least, I would like to extend hearty welcome to my dear students. I want to give a brief introduction about our resource person. Sir, our resource person, sir, has started his career in Starmark Service Private Limited as a software engineer. So he worked from 2004 to 2006. Okay. So he worked on banking, survey portal, and healthcare products. So next, sir has worked in Target Software Company as a senior software engineer from 2006 to 2008. Okay. After that, sir worked in a Dell company as a senior software engineer from 2008 to 2009. So after that, sir has worked in associate general as a technical leader from 2009 to 2011. Okay, and also sir worked in market risk analysis and management tool also. So after that, so sir is a founder of Srushti Soft software company. Okay, sir is a owner and also designed and developing and delivered two most successful products. So products so successful release ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, right? So that is Quick Quest ಅಂತೇಳಿ and Examinator ಅಂತೇಳಿ. Okay, so sir secured what's Microsoft certified professional certification ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Okay, so So this is about a brief introduction about our resource person. So I am handovering this session to sir. Sir, hello sir.
Thank you, Naveen sir.
Sir, continue ಮಾಡಿ sir.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Thank you, Principal Sir, and thank you all the teaching staff from the college. Thank you very much for offering me this opportunity, and I also welcome all the students. I see like 30-40 students have added here. Okay, so let me start the presentation. So I was just thinking that we'll do that presentation in a more a casual way. How many of you students would like to go in English or Kannada? Just quickly comment me. Let's see who what is the major, what is the what is the preferred way. Someone said not audible, and are you guys all students? Are you guys able to hear me properly? Can someone comment? Okay, I can see so many of them said English. Nobody wants Kannada. Okay. So okay. So most of them feels like English is a way to go. I will continue in the English then. Okay. So let me just share the screen first.
Sir, everyone are preferring in English.
Yes. I see that most of them need English. So sure, no problem. So we'll go with the English one. And also it's good that comments are working.
Yes, sir, it's working, sir. No problem, sir.
Yes. Okay. So to all the students now, if you have any question in between any slide or any during the presentation, please feel free to shoot me a question. I'll read the comment loud and then I will answer the question. So basically, this is not kind of a presentation where I'm going to show you a lot of slides and explain you things. No, I'm not going to do that. What I'm trying to do today is that you have this software engineering subject in your academy, and I will pick some of the things from your subject, and I'll try to map those in the how we are doing in our day-to-day software engineering, software development life cycle here in our company. So let's just start with the software engineering thing. And yes, as I have been already introduced, my name is Pawan Gaikwad. I'm the CEO of SrishtiSoft. I am actively engaged in developing software, also maintaining the software as well. Basically, in our company, we actually start from end to end. We listen to the customers, we get the requirements, we design a software, we deploy it. After designing, we develop the software, test it, and deploy it, and then we offer support also. So I was just going through your this syllabus, and what I see that in the syllabus, you guys are learning more about the SDLC software development cycle, and what I particularly see that there is a waterfall model. Is there any other model you guys are learning apart from waterfall model? Can someone comment? No other models. You guys are only learning the waterfall model. Is there any agile methodology? Have you guys heard the spiral model? Okay, someone said spiral model. Okay, and is there any other model? But evolutionary process model, guys, I don't see that in your syllabus. It's not in the syllabus, but you have been proactively looking at these model. Okay, someone said rapid development model. Excellent. That is purely a rapid application development model. That is purely when you're developing a software, when you're writing a code and building a software. And there is something when we talk about waterfall model, you see there is a complete process how the software has is being developed. You analyze the requirement, you understand the business what it is, you come up with the requirement specification, then you design the software, and then you code it. Literally, you write the code, test it, and then implement it, and then you implement it on a client cert. Now, most of them I see have been saying rapid development model. The rapid development model usually sits in this development and testing methodology. Okay, that does not actually completely uh, portray the complete life cycle of the software development model. And there is few of them have said iterative model, and that is something. Iterative model is something a little bit like a waterfall model, and but with a little changes towards making greater progress towards the software development activities. We'll jump that to the iteration model, but I'm very happy to see that you guys have explored it. Apart from waterfall model, I see spiral model. There is a evolutionary process model is something I am hearing it for the first time. I'm not sure about that. Rapid application development is the one. Iterative model is something you do every whole the process, right from the scratch, and to the and you keep developing as and when the issues comes up. That's how the iterative model goes up. Fine. So let's jump into all these. I have just showed you the waterfall model now. Basically, in the industry, yes, there is a waterfall model. So still a waterfall model is something that is always okay. I think you guys are seeing my screen now, I guess, right? Okay. So waterfall model is something, it's been a standard in the industry, and it's been used by many traditional companies, many service-based companies till date. Now, all the other models, what we follow or what we learn today, are all like the byproduct of the waterfall model. We technically do the same thing. We do the analysis, we do the development. It's the same process. What's been followed in waterfall model, it's the same process is being followed in all other models. Just that the responsibilities and the way of executing those work will be usually cut down. Okay, this is the theory part. I'll just cut down here, and I'll show you how we do these each steps in our day-to-day activities. So I don't have any more slides now. The slides are over. Now I'll pick this one or every phase, each one phase, and I'll show you what in our company, SrishtiSoft, what in our company we are doing it. So whenever we want to develop a software, as you know, there is an analysis and there is a requirement specification. So what does this really mean? As that, let's say a person comes to us and he says he wants to build a billing software to his firm or to his company or to his store maybe. Okay, so what we do that we just hear him, and this is something like that. We use a normal Word document or any online document, and we just put down all those requirements as and when we hear from a customer. We just keep writing on whatever they wanted it. This is some product we are working on, and we just it's a employee management module, and in that the customer says okay, he wants these things. When he wants to enter information in the software, he might want to capture all this information from an employee. So this is how it looks like. It's a very basic document, and this document contains all the information, whatever we hear from a customer. When I say customer, a person who is in need of a software, to him we need to develop one software and give it to them. So when a customer comes to us and they request set of information, And we do little color coding where we prioritize, okay, these are now when you see this is the whole thing which basically talks about how the employee management has to be implemented. And then these are this blue section which actually says that these are the bigger, very high level, they need inventory management, they also need asset management, they also need supply material management. There are no details underneath, so we kind of use a color coding to differentiate, okay, these are the future coming modules, and the one we need to work on now is this detailed document which is an employee database, employee management uh, requirement. One thing I would like to tell you guys that most of the tools we use in our company, all those tools, most of them are online tools, and most of them are obviously we use enterprise login, but as a student or as an individual, you can also use this tool. Now, as you can see, we are using this Google Docs. So Google Docs, you can also use Google Docs. You can track this information, which is pretty much, replacement alternative for a Microsoft Office. The reason why we use online edition of documenting is that, whenever we go to the client site, we may be in the same city or in some other city, and then they say something, okay, we need to add these feature. That time, it is more convenient for us to put those things in an online document, so that as soon as I enter this information, I enter information sitting in a client site, in the same moment the developer sitting in our office can view these changes and he can plan for designing these things. Okay, so please note that all the tools I am going to show you here, all those tools you can also use it, and I encourage you guys to use it, because that's how we get exposure to getting into these methodologies. In college, you have learned how these things. This is a theoretical thing, and what you're going to see today is how this is really working in industry, how these things are taking shape in our day-to-day activities as a software company. Okay, so I'm still here. So analysis and requirement specification, I'm still here. Okay, so specifically I'm in this green thing. This shows all this requirement thing, right? Now, once this thing is done, okay, once we understood what is the requirement, and then we get into this requirement specification. This requirement specification is more of a, what are the data types, or what kind of data structure, or how the API should look like. When you say API, it's an application programming language, which is nothing but a web service, and how this web service to be developed, how these specification to be laid out. This is like a technical document. As you can still see, we are still using Google Docs for this thing. There is no hi-fi thing in this, but the content wise, this is what the normal English, the English that customer speaks, a non-technical person, any layman who speaks, we get the same words and we will put it here. Now we translate this document to our technical specification, in which we try to see, okay, what are all needs to be incorporated to satisfy these needs into our software. So there is a huge effort goes on between analysis to requirement specification. Okay, it's basically a document work. Yes, it looks like a document work, but there is a technical person who sits and who reads all these things, and then he come up with a technical specification. Okay, so no need to worry about these content of this specification. I'm just showing you that, okay, this specification mostly comes up with, okay, how many files we are creating, what are the format of the files, how should be the what are all the input parameters, what are all the output parameters, and what are the other future enhancement parameters we can look out for. There will be a simple demo version of data as well, and how to parse them, how should be the output format, and all those things. Then comes to this very precise formulating of these steps, where it says, okay, in a step 1 what should we do, in a step 2 what should be done, and how these things should go move ahead. This is all planning, it's just like, you are throwing a party, and before throwing a party, you just think, okay, what are all we are going to do, what are all the activities we are going to do, where we book the hotel, or what kind of food it should be, and how we dress up, and all those things. It's planning. No one does it, in a practical way. They just think. Maybe you write it in a smaller slip and you keep a note of it. This is a slightly bigger version of the same thing. Okay, so we've seen that this is kind of a requirement specification. I have also shown that there is a little bit of designing of those things. It may not be the same type of design for all the software. There can be database design where the entity models are drawn, and let me show you one such thing to you guys. I have a lot of projects here. Maybe I'll show you the live projects one we work on. So there will be usually there will be a database. This is the entity diagram thing. There will be a database design as well. Okay, what are all the tables? This is a table. CS user profile is a table, and these are all the column names. Okay, so, and this is the entity diagram. Even sometimes we even define a relationship from we define the entity keys, we define the relationships and everything, where you just drag and drop and do you define the foreign key, primary key, indexes and all such things. So this is again a design and requirement specification. In the requirement specification itself, we get to know that, okay, these many tables we need to design, and these are the steps to be followed while implementing this feature, and that's how each method in those feature, and this is the each method, what kind of input that method takes and what kind of output it emits, and all those things are documented. So still in this process, if you see, no coding has been started, no implementation, nothing has been. It's all documentation. Now I hope this much explanation was enough. If there are any questions, you just feel free to, I'm checking the comment section here. If anybody has the question, please feel free to post me. As you can see, this is how I can see the comments here. So you can just post me. I'll just read out the question and answer it. Okay. So till now, what I have covered is on a very high level. This is what we have been covering. It's a requirement, all the requirement specification, analysis, and specification. Now, the reason why software engineering is important, why the subject is here in your academy, and also why we follow this. This is not just a theoretical subject. There is a very important, very crucial item in software engineering, that is this management of software development. So what happens when there is more than one people involved in any work? Then you need someone to look it out and someone to track the activity, track the work, what has been done. Even if it is a single person doing the same, still he needs to do it in a very systematic way. The reason why they have to do it in a very systematic way is because if you see, these are all the number of files that gets created when any software is created in the industry level. And if you see that, so I'm just expanding everything, and I'm showing you all these things. So these are the set of, this is a very small project, and it has these many set of files. Now just imagine, it is very hard to manage if you don't have a right pointer, or if you don't have a right documentation, or if you don't have a right person who can guide you through or navigate through if something comes up in between. And I'm hoping you guys have seen this thing. Okay, right? So when you have this much of bigger infrastructure to manage, you need to have one system in place. It's just like, you need a system. Otherwise, it is a haphazard. Someone, the guy who work on this particular file might write something, and this file might be used by someone, and this file is written by someone else, and there needs to be a synchronization between these two files. And imagine, in our scenario, the guy who writes this file is sitting somewhere in some other city, and the guy who writes this particular code is sitting in somewhere in another city. Now, how do you establish this contact? It is there needs to be a process. There needs to be a management activity in place. So for that, what we do is we follow some of the management tools which is offered by many companies. So what happens? This is one product we use, Jira, which is freely available. Even you guys can use it, which is offered by a Bitbucket.org company. I'm not sure how many of you heard of it. Even if you're not familiar with Atlassian company, how many of you heard GitHub? Have you heard of GitHub? Can you guys comment, post chat? How many of you heard GitHub? Say yes. How many of you know this thing? Let's be honest, guys. Okay. So I'm just repeating the question. So how many of you heard of GitHub? So I see I received no reply. Maybe because nobody has heard of it, or nobody are hearing it for the first time. This is a very important tool. You can store all your source code in this online repository, just like you save your attachment to Google Drive or OneDrive or Dropbox. If you have heard of all those things, right? So few of them said yes, and few of them said no. Okay, so this is the GitHub is a repository. Just think that like it's like your own USB drive. And how do you take a backup? You just connect your USB drive. You take backup of your movies and other documents and your project files. It's the same way. But when you write a software, it's not just files. You might also want to see what are the changes in those files, and when those changes are done, and what are those changes, and why those changes are made. So these things are very crucial when it comes to software development, and that's why it is very important to manage a software development activity. And that is what is everything is sum up and presented to you as a software engineering as a syllabus, so that you get acquainted with those management principles. There are standard methodologies to manage when you develop any software. So I'm here trying to map these theoretical things here to the tools that we are using, because we are literally in a day-to-day activity, we are literally using all of this in the form of different tools that are available not only to us, but these are available to you as well. I'll also show you what is GitHub later. So till now we were here. So we have done the analysis, we have done the requirement specification. When I said analysis, this is the analysis. We hear requirement from the customer and we make a document, and there is a requirement specification. Now this is all a layman normal English language, and you hear everything, and there is a technical guy who just sits at and convert this English requirement into a technical requirement, which most of the developer are very easy to understand. And in this requirement, it is clearly said that what are the inputs and what are the outputs and their formats and how they behave each other. That is what this requirement specification as well as the design. Okay, and once the design is done, and before we go to the development, this requirement and specification and design still has some more work to do. As I told you, we use these documents to do this, but this is not going to help us now. We need to cut down this in a very specific tasks, which a developer can take up and start working on. Because why we need a task, we need to tell, because okay, this guy, one particular person A has to work on this file, person B needs to work on this file, person C needs to work on another file. And in the end of the day, when all these files are put together, they should work seamlessly without any problems, and the end product should work as per the customer's expectation. This is the reason why we need to convert this specification into a number of tasks. It is similar that, like, I just extend the same example of, you guys throwing a party. Okay, two or three main people, they sit together, they formulate, okay, what do we do in the party? Okay, we sing, okay, we book a hotel, and we eat this many lunch. This should be the menu of the lunch. Okay, this should be the playlist of the songs that should be played during the party, right? So there are different type of activities, and a single person cannot be in charge of all this. So you assign one person to each activity. Correct. So there is one activity and there is one person working on it. So now, in the same analogy, we have decided here, okay, what are all the playlist, what are all the lunch menu item, what is the hotel. That guy has to go around and find out a hotel and then book a hotel. So this is the kind of points. It's a point. Say, okay, this you should do it, you should do it, you should do it. Like it is in that format. Now, once this thing is planned, now it's the time to execute all these items. Now, what happens? There is a software called Jira, and we use this. And here we create a task for every person. Okay, I'm not showing you my whole team task over here because of some confidential things, but I'll show you only my tasks here. So these are many tasks that are assigned to me. Let's say I just open one task, um, and this task has a very neat description. Okay, it says find out a secured way to between a client and server, and this task has been who has created it and when it was created. So it was created on the 1st October. Okay, and updated on the 31st October. It's been almost 1 month, 15 days, 10 days, so this task is long pending. Why it is long pending? Because it's a future. It's not the task that to be immediately implemented. It has to be considered for the future things, and that's how it ends up. So there are different types of tasks which is to be planned, that needs to be done immediately, and there are tasks which are already finished. And this is again another online system which you can also use it, and you can just keep creating a tasks. So what are all those tasks, and how it's so today you can show a software engineering a demo today. Okay, so this is one task. What is the type of a task? This is just a task. This is not a new feature in a software, or this is not even a defect in a software. This is just a presentation. So I can just create a task. That task gets created, and it comes and sits to me, basically because I have created it. It comes and sits to me. I can assign this task to someone else if I'm not planning to take this activity. I can I can easily assign to someone else. So this is how you create bunch of tasks which were derived from this specification. Okay, and then you put on you bring all those things to a system where you can easily track. I can see, okay, how many tasks has been finished, all the done tasks, it's all done, it's all finished tasks. So I can filter it out, how many are finished or how many are in progress. Okay, these are the progress in progress. Okay, I have 3 tasks in progress. So, considering these, obviously, these tasks have this email email triggers and everything, where I get to know whenever a task is assigned to me. Now I read this task in detail, and I start coding in my editor here. Okay, so I basically work vastly on Microsoft technologies. So I usually work on C Sharp. I also have a good experience in developing Java. I also work on Python as well, and there are a bunch of database activities too. And we mostly use the Docker here to simulate different operating system environments, because I work on Windows 10, and if I want to see how this software works in Linux, I don't have to install that whole software in my system. I just use this Docker, which is a simulation software, which can give me a environment of the whole different operating system. There is also something like, if you are using a Windows 10, there is also called a WSL. Have you heard of Windows Subsystem of Linux? How many have you guys heard of it? Yes or no? Comment. How many of you're using Windows 10? Okay, in the moment you send me those chat replies, but make sure you reply those chat. WSL is another command line environment for us to simulate any operating system. I can take a Kali Linux and I can log in as my username. I can easily get into a Linux operating system in a few moments. I don't have to install it, and boom, there I get it. So I can now execute all the Linux commands, and I can check what are all things going to happen here. I can see how many processes are are running in that OS. Okay, if I want something, I can install a new utility as well, which actually pulls up. Many of you said yes, sir. I don't understand. Yes, for what? You can say Windows. Are you guys using Windows 10? So this is kind of a broken install, and at any point of time we can fix it. We can do all these the Linux basic commands here, where we get to see all the Linux file system. Okay, so this is the tool I was talking about. I was talking about the development environment. So we jumped in from design. We converted all our requirements into tasks now, like this. And as soon as one of our developer checks these tasks, he jumps into developing those software. Okay, now that comes to this development. This development and testing takes a lot of time in testing the software and making sure things are going fine, and to check things are on as per user expectation, and also these things are as per the timeline. There is a timeline as well. So we mostly use this dashboard kind of thing, where it actually as it's a card basis, where the same tasks, the software converts these tasks into a dashboard, where we can see, okay, what I'm doing now. Okay, if I'm working on some download of file, this particular task, I can just drag and drop it here, and this will actually notify all my complete team that I'm working on this. Now, whoever developer is working on related activity of this particular requirement, he might get alarm, he get triggered, and he will also start working on the same thing. So this is something without making any phone calls or sending any explicit emails. We communicate each other offline in our own same pace, and we get things done. So once I do this, then I go ahead, I create a new project. Let's say we are just going to create a new simple project, and we just create a project in our console. I'm just taking a very simple project here, because lot of things going to happen here now. So we are in a development phase now thing here. The development consists of creating a project, writing your code, and then testing it, So you might have I'm writing this code just for the demonstration purpose. I beg your pardon if this looks too advanced, but this is similar like a C++ language. So where it just prints out what I would write. I'm just taking a hello world kind of thing. Yeah. So and I'll just have a read line just to make the command line stays on the screen. So I just ran it. I just wrote the code and I ran it. There you go. I got the hello world here, right? This is just a very simple console application. Let's say we are developing some calculator application. I'm going to take a very simple example here. If that is the case, I'll just say, okay, then it returns int, and then it say add two numbers, number one and number two, and return number one plus number two. It is as simple as that. Okay, so and here I am going to call that function, and I'm going to say sum, right? And add 2 plus 2. And I think if I run it, I should get to see hello world and sum is 4, right? Now what happens in a typical scenario, I'm just taking a very simple example here and I'm going to show it to you. Since I am the single person and this project is very small, what I have done that I wrote a main method in the same file, and I also wrote another method in the same file, and it is written by me only because I'm the only person developing it. Now normally in typical software development cycle, this is not going to happen. Two people cannot work on a single file. So what happens, this code gets splitted, and this split is what explained in this design document. And this split was what also explained while creating the tasks. It says that, okay, you cannot write something like this. This portion has to be given to someone else who can write addition, or maybe as and when requirement comes up, he can write it for multiplication, subtraction, and many other things. So what happens typically, what we do, we don't write, as you already know now, we don't write it in a single file. There will be another file, and in which he is going to, I'll just mark that file as a calc. This is another file, and I just give it to that guy, and I'll tell him that, okay, just implement addition of two numbers. And that guy or that girl is sitting somewhere in some other city, writing this program, and they just, create a class, a very independent class, and they implement the same addition of two numbers in their own way. This is not a static. So they just implement it. They are done with their tasks. Okay. And this class.cs file, I'm going to use that file now here. I cannot do this. I just strike it out. What I do is that I import that class here, and then I call add 2 by 2. And I'm going to use the same right line here. And this is how now things are going to work out. So now, as you can see, there are two files got created, and this file is independently created by some other person. I don't know what is going on inside add button, so I add functionality. So I just call with two numbers, and I have a user interface, right? I own this program.cs file. I have the user interface. When I say user interface, I can call this console and all those things, whereas they cannot call this console thing. They are not supposed to. They have to add it and send it to me. That's all. They cannot do this console thing. So this is owned by someone. Console is owned by some person, but the backend code is written by some other person. Now, how do we make sure this thing is working fine? Right, this is the problem statement. If you just apply the same methodology in the larger software, where there are hundreds of files, there are 20-30 people are working on it, this is the it boils down to the same problem. Now, when I run this, I am getting 4. Okay, that is my expectation. My expectation is that there is no change in the output, right? Even previously it's the same. What is changed? The orchestration of this whole code base. Now, just imagine from the perspective of the person who writes this, how do they test it? Okay, they cannot run this file independently. How do they test it? And if you see, that is where this software testing, the testing process and debugging, all these things come into the picture. There has to be, it's not always testing that, going a mouse and clicking all these things. Okay, that is like a functional testing. We call it as a functional testing. But this is something, a unit testing, that it's a methodology to test only this method. How do we test that? There is something, very ready-made tools available. They can right click and create a unit test. And what basically this does, that it will create a test cases for this particular method, where as an individual programmer for this calc file, they can only test their own method without even worrying about what could be the UI presentation. It can be a console, or tomorrow it can be a web application or something else. Okay, so what this test case does is that, the developer just, the developer who actually working on this calc file, okay, that developer uses this test case. He initiate the object the same way what the program guy does. He does the same way. He simulates that. He does not really care what kind of a UI it is, but he is more concerned about what is the output, right? So what is the output? It should return 2 by 2, 2 plus 2 should 4. So he says it is 4, and it should be true. It should be 4, right? Now what happens? How to test this? There are some ready-made editors, where in which we compile the source, and you can right away test this test case. And when they do that, there will be a kind of a explorer which actually tests this code and tells that, okay, this particular method is working fine. Now, if it is, let's say if I say 3, and when I test this, normally it is doing the test. Now it fails. It says that, whatever customer is expecting in that output is not coming. This is what customer is expecting. Let us say 3. But the expected output must be 3, but it is returning 4. So this is here there is no user interface. There is no console for the person who is developing on calc. He or she make use of these test cases, and they test their scenarios. They test their code. Okay, it is working fine or not, and that's how all the things runs out. Here we can run it the test once again. These are the testing. So this is the unit level testing. They do this test and integration. Once these tests are passed, integration is the one. This file gets used in this thing. Even in a typical scenario, basically this file does not belong to the same project. It belongs to some other project entirely different, which is like library. So we just say library here, and sometimes this whole thing goes to some other project. This is an entirely different project, and these two projects are not related at all. So that's how this code orchestration goes in the way, and that's how these unit tests are done. And this is how the UI level testing and the backend testing goes out. Now, the one benefit of using these kind of automated tests is that there are multiple tools, when to compile. Now, this is a very small project, that is why whenever I say build, it just builds it, in a few seconds. But in a very large and complex projects, we have a separate build applications. These are the application. They are only meant for building the application. They don't write any code. This is a tool which its job is just to build the project. Okay. And if you see here, so every time in this project, it takes 24 minutes to build the project. Whatever this thing has done here, it took too few seconds, right? It's the same way to do the build. This particular project usually takes 24 minutes, and this takes 50 seconds. This takes 3 minutes 9 seconds. This is the automation tool which actually built for us. And there are mechanisms where we can actually include these tests to be run automatically. So whenever we build it, this software checks that all these tests are true or false, and depending on that, it does all those kind of checks. I'm sorry. It does all those kind of checks. It does this testing thing automatically. No person has to sit and check all those things, and then it will emit the result. These are all 100% or not, and it does all this emitting, and it will finally say, okay, it took this much of time in this much of speed. It consumed nearly 570 MB of file thing. So these automated tests, come into, we basically don't sit and test manually. We actually automate that, and that is what it's been taught to you guys. That software testing and the testing tools is what I just showed you. Debugging is the same way. You put a breakpoint and you check it. Okay, so we have seen that all this requirement of checking, analyzing, designing, and testing and implementation is something you just copy paste to the server and you just run it. It is as simple as that. Okay, one last thing. I was talking about the GitHub to you guys, to which many of you said not aware of. So GitHub is a place where it will help you to manage your source code. When I said managing your source code means what? So this is one project file source code. And if you see, there are small tick marks, there is a green, there is a red, if you see those things. Now it tells me that in this folder, there is one file which has been modified, some modification has been done, and what is that file? And this will help me to find out that particular file, you see, and all other files are not changed. So in a big project, if someone makes some change, what is that change, and where that change has gone? To identify that thing, these source code control tools help us to identify which file and what. It can even go further, right? It can even tell me that what kind of a change has been done. If I go to difference, now it will show me the difference between the previous and the existing file. Now this was the file before changing this. Now if I just open this file in a notepad, and you just see the changes that is currently in. Okay, you don't see what was its previous version, right? To see the previous version, this is what it does. This left hand side is the previous version, and the right hand side was the working tree, which is the current tree. So it will tell me, okay, this line has been newly added, which was not there in the previous version. You see what I mean? So this way it will help us which file has been changed in what folder and what has been changed. Not just that, this project has been running for several years now. I can anytime go and check the log. It will tell us what are all change has been done, what are the features updated, if there are any defects, what are the defects fixed, and all those with description, which internally maps to these tasks. Right now you see you got the pictures. Now because of this task, this thing has been done, and these are all the set of files that were changed while making this fix or while implementing this particular implementation. And all this bin is maintained by GitHub, or a Git is a repository thing which is called GitHub. There is a software called Git which you can get it for Windows. You can get it freely. This is a free software. Again, you can download it, and once you download it, when you right click, you will get to see these kind of menus in your Windows, and you can start managing these items. Now this is all in my computer. Now I want, someday my computer get crashed, and what happens to this source code? What I do, I take a backup. And when I take a backup on USB drive, I may not able to see these differences. So that's why this product, the GitHub product, helps me to maintain the exact mirror copy. it has the exact mirror copy, file structure, right? And it can even show us the differences and everything. This is the online version of our code, which can help us to see the differences and all those things. Right. So on a very high level, this is like a source code management tool, which is a must nowadays in the industry, which actually gives you a very high level of how much percentage of code coverage is it's been used and what are all the things that been used here. So a lot of statistics it pulls out, and it'll give you. And as a overall, you as a project contributor, you can see how many days you worked on and what are all your involvement. What was your last activity? It tracks down everything, every activity. So basically, the idea of software engineering is tracking down all the tasks and activities and making sure they are online, they are as per the expectation, customer's expectation, they are as per the timeline, they are as per the standard abide by the company. So all those things we manage using these many tools. Okay, this ends almost my presentation here. I tried to show you all the tools here that we are using in our day-to-day activities, and that's how it goes. That's how it reaches to the final customer, and they get to use it. So if you guys have any question, I'll just pause for 1 minute, and if you guys have any question, you may comment me here. I can try to answer those. Okay, it seems no one has a question, or I'm getting it delayed. I'm not sure. Okay, so you guys can keep continue. If not here, you can always reach me on my Twitter handle. And my Twitter handle is Pawan Gaikwad. You can actually use this Twitter handle to post me any queries. Now, those of you wondering what is this tweet or Twitter, there is some software called Twitter, which is at twitter.com. You must have heard of it. And the beautiful thing about this, that it will only allow you to enter 250 characters here, and you can post anything, you can ask anyone, you can tag them, you can tag anyone, almost anyone. If you say Microsoft, or if you say Java community, or you can mark this all this blue tick. You must have already know about this blue tick. It tells that they are the authentic presenters. You can directly talk to those companies, and you can always get an answer straight from the horse mouth, straight from the company. So you can tweet me saying Pawan Gaikwad, and you can post your questions. I'm here there to answer you guys if you have any questions. You can occasionally visit my profile as well here, where I usually post a lot of my exploration I have been doing during these days and past couple of years, where you can check that. You can also let me know if there are any comments. Right. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for your time, and thanks to the college team and all the professors and all the teaching and non-teaching staff, especially the principal and all of the eminent persons over there. Thanks for your time and giving me opportunity to present our process in front of the young generation of this country. Thanks a lot.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್, ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ. ಹಲೋ ಸರ್, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ಗೂ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಓಕೆ ಸರ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಹಲೋ, ಎಸ್, ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಹಿಯರ್ ಮೀ? ಹಲೋ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಹಿಯರ್ ಮೀ? ಹಲೋ, ಓಕೆ. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your valuable guidance to our students. And if they have any questions or anything, we will get back to you. And thank you very much, sir. Actually, sir has accepted our invitations and he has come and he has make his time to give the lecturing on the software engineering. Actually, he doesn't have the schedules in the morning, so we kept in the afternoon. So some little strength in the sessions, but it's the valuable sessions we have heard. And once again, I will thanks from our BIHE and our team, and thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. I'll just close my session, sir. Thank you. Okay, pa, thanks. Thank you very much, all the students. Thank you. ನೋಡಿ, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಓಕೆ, we will meet in the next class, or we'll meet in the next sessions or whatever. But tell them to others to join also next time onwards. Okay, thank you.